Hey guys, and welcome to another Lord of the Rings Rise to War video. In this one we're going to be talking about Tier 1 Managed Commander, Faramir, son of Denethor and brother of Boromir. As you can see, I have an above average Faramir. I have a Respect 20, fairly whaled out Faramir. There's a reason I've invested into him, and his cape pretty much puts him right back in PvP viability against almost every commander that I've seen. So I'm going to break down what I have equipped to him, explain why I think it is the most optimal equipment for him, and then give you a couple alternatives if you do not have these, whale accessories and whale equipment. So the weapon of choice we are going to give him is a gigantic hammer. Not only does it have army attack +6, so it affects ranged, melee, cavalry, beast, anything. It also has a couple of the best substats in the game, in my opinion. I think break defense is a pretty strong one. It debuffs the enemy's defense, can stack and last till the end of combat unless it's cleared. I think the ability to do that is very well used in tandem with the fact that his ranged units deal physical damage, so reducing enemy defense is going to help you do more. The other substat this has, which makes this weapon so potent, is the ability called Rend. At max refinement, your army doing physical damage will ignore 18% of the target's defense. This synergizes very well with sharpshooters who only deal physical damage, but they do such a high burst that the defense bypass of Rend would be even better. So that is the reason I think Gigantic Hammer is the best for Faramir. If you do not have access to a Gigantic Hammer, I think a Mirkwood Bow or a Carver with Men's Strength would be two very solid substitutes to equip on him, because you're going to most assuredly run a front line, and if you run Swan Knights or Cataphracts, a Carver with Men's Strength would work. If you're running maybe Great Beasts or Trolls, and just to clarify, this is non-roleplay I play in, so I am going to give this in the context of maybe some compositions that you would not see in roleplay. If you're using Bjornings or Eagles or Great War Beasts or Trolls, then you don't really care about buffing the frontline tank unit. So you could use a Mirkwood Bow and be fine. Or if you want to play Arnor, Rangers of the North, a Mirkwood Bow would be beneficial to your tank, which is a ranged unit as well. As far as his headpiece goes, I'm going to say that Hysteria with Trapper's Hood is one of the strongest. It gives his army attack more attack. It gives you the chance to proc madness against your enemy. And that, to me, those are two of the biggest reasons. That being said, it does leave him open to being afflicted by madness. So if you were going to go up against, if you expected to run up against a lot of Grimas or Saurons, you are going to want to sacrifice the benefits here for a Horseman's Helm with Resolve. The one thing you could argue is that if you do run a Cataphract or Swan Knight frontline, at least you'll be getting some bonus defense. Otherwise, this is what I would recommend for PvE, player versus environment, taking tiles. Or if you wanted to run a Bone Mask with Manipulate perhaps, or a Bone Mask with Hysteria, there's something to argue about that. But you do want to do as much damage as possible, and this does stack. I do have an Aegis Hunter's Guide. I feel like that's most optimal. Once your stun immunity from Guide expires, you get 2 more rounds of the stun immunity. You get 4 whole rounds of Madness immunity, and you're getting plus attack range. So to me, it synergizes well with his sharpshooter build. His armor, the only thing I can think of would be the Ranger's Cape. If you had, Ranger Shroud and Resistance or something, you could maybe run him. But what really puts him in competition for PvP is his cape. The Athelian Ambush not only affects his units, but himself. They both gain initiative. They do a very high burst of damage in the first 2 rounds. And he gets Army Defense Men, which is going to make your sharpshooters less squishy. It's going to buff up your frontline units, and it also gives you a nice mix of all the stats that he needs to do better. For the accessory, I run it 2 ways. Early game, I run a Mend Firework, so that not only am I buffing my attack units, I'm going to be healing with Mend. I'm going to be giving my Commander Faramir more focus, which, with the build I use, is going to help benefit his Armed Escort healing. Or what I do is later game PvP. Some people might want to use it from the get-go. I go into Hunter's Mark, Wizard Fireworks. So I start with men for the healing, and then PvP starts, I go into Hunter's Mark. How I run Faramir as far as skills go, I typically, once again, I have him respect 20, so this may change for you to me. But when I start him off, I go max 15 guide because I want to get stun immunity. I want to get massive damage bonus to all my units, not just ranged. That's the nice thing for guide. And then I want to get armed escort. Why do I want to get armed escort? It's a 1-round cooldown attack ability and gives you 90% HP recovery, which is modifiable by focus. So if you're running a Wizard Fireworks with Mend, you're going to get 2 heals going simultaneously, and I think that's really strong early game. From there, I'm going to go into his top R0 for double rush abilities, which also makes sense because not only are you doing more damage to your enemy, but they're going to have less troops to then hit your units back, which hopefully means more are going to survive on your side. So from there, I would also then go into flanking because flanking allows you to target ranged units early, which is very helpful because generally speaking, it takes you a little bit to get into the Rangers and the Dunedains. And then once you've got these topped off, I skip Foresight. People would ask, why would you skip Foresight? I think it is weaker compared to Hunter's Mark. Hunter's Mark for 3 rounds and a higher 90% chance gives you Commander and Army Pursuit, while Foresight is 4 rounds, but it's only a 70% chance. It only gives your Army Pursuit. So to me, that's weaker. I would go into Air and Nobility after I get these 5 skills done. Why would I do that? Because Air physically stacks if you're using Swans. This will allow it a chance to build up. If you're using Great War Beasts, it'll allow this a chance to build up. And on top of that, Nobility then even gives a higher damage bonus to the Sharpshooters, to the Swan Knights, to the Cataphracts. As long as you're running men units, your guys are going to benefit from this. This is definitely very, very low on the totem pole if you don't have like mega respect like I do. But if you do have that respect, it is a nice bonus to further toughen up your troops and cause them to do more damage. So just a very quick video on this. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I think he's very viable. I think he's a fun commander to play. Does he destroy everything? No. He still has problems with Witch King burn damage and Sauron Madness or focus damage, but he is a fun commander to use. He does have some nice trades. His pursuit can catch Gills and fleeting movement Gandalf's off guard, and I hope you guys give him a shot because he's very fun. Take care. We'll see you next time.